I would like to talk about the Leafs.
For once.
So great that they got the win. Great that they were up 4-1, but the game ends 5-4 on objectively a terrible play by a goaltender that just didn't look or feel confident all night long.
A goalie who's not that great and a team that's not that great.
Right.
They're just not that great.
Right.
But they play the Leafs tough. That is a thing.
Every game.
Matchups are a thing, and the Blackhawks always play the Leafs tough.
Yep.
When was the last time the Leafs and Blackhawks played a game that was separated by more than one goal?
It's honestly, I don't know what it is. They seem to bring it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Or the
All
Leafs
the
seem to
time.
let them.
Yeah, and there's always something noteworthy in it. The Morgan Riley OT winner in a 7-6 game where Matthews and Kane did the dueling Hulk Hogan pose. William Nylander scoring a penalty shot goal 5 seconds into overtime. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Just, it's dumb. It's dumb. They're two dumb teams when they play each other. They forget everything that makes them smart hockey teams and just be dumb. They're dumb.
They're dumb.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb.
It's
Now,
kinda dumb.
the goal, that being a lucky goal aside, there was a couple major problems towards the end of the second and early into the third. And I know that, if you really want to see a screen grab of it, you can go to minute 9:30 of Steve's LFR on this one, because you got some screenshots in there that are disturbing. Now we're talking about. We'll start with the Christians Rubens and Justin Hall. Jesse, I can pull it up for you if you want.
So it's a poor read from Rubens. He doesn't.
So what's happening? What's happening in the play?
The Blackhawks are charging in. I don't remember how the play began exactly, but they're charging in. He doesn't adjust quickly enough, and his foot speed is failing him. And Justin Hall, trying to do the right thing, genuinely, does not. He's like, okay, so this kid's going to get beat, so I'm going to completely abandon my man because I think I can beat the attacker to the puck, or I can beat the attacker to the net. I can cut him off before he gets a shot, or I can make it a low percentage one. Instead, what happens is neither get there in time. Like, Hall's, I don't know, maybe a foot ahead of where Rubens ended up. So it's not helpful at all. They're able to make a clean pass to a wide open player who's wide open because Hall abandoned his post.
Do we have it there?
And no,
you want me to pull it
that's
up?
Not even, that's the 4-2 goal.
I was waiting for the next one.
Which is also terrible.
Yeah, okay. Well,
that's also Hall Muzzin.
Sure.
So let's do the one before that, I think. I think it's at 9:30.
Or not also.
But it's
also Hall.
It's bad. There's a lot of bad.
There's a lot of bad. Like, a lot of, like, comically bad.
Right.
Not like, you were a little late to this. You were like, look at that. Jesse's showing me the screenshot. It looks like one person. It also looks like I'm trying to eat.
It looks like a two-headed blue monster person.
Yeah.
Who's a little slow and left his man open.
Yeah, it's a Pokemon who, sacrifices a lot of speed for HP points.
Right. 100%, and maybe some power.
Yeah, which you can, you throw a fast Pokemon out there, you can dodge them all you want.
So starting with this, Christian Rubens is, we're finding out what he is. We don't know. We're finding out he's a big hulking defenseman. That's great. What is, I don't want this to become like a whipping boy situation, but there is something genuinely wrong with the way Justin Hall is playing this year. There's a decision making. Is it an injury? Remember, and again, this is not, I'm not bringing this up to say, oh, I'm right or whatever. Like, Justin Hall genuinely played great with Jake Muzzin last year.
Yeah.
He did. The Leafs protected him because of that, because they believe in this guy.
Yeah.
And listen, I get it. It's 30 games. Small sample size.
Mm-hmm.
But what's happened?
Here's where I'm confused. Because I like to say, and when Justin Bourne came on the Watch a Leafs game with Steve Tangle's stream on Saturday, because we were both critical of Hall, and he would have worked with Hall, I think, with the Toronto Marlies. What I like to say is good players don't just forget how to play hockey. So we had a good conversation about that. What if we saw him at his peak? He was just, everything was clicking for him all at once, and that was the peak of his career, and it's potentially all downhill from there. So that's an option. Also, as pointed out by Leafs Twitter account, I think it's Leafs IMO, he got injured at the end of September, Justin Hall. There was a training camp drill or practice or whatever where he left for the room. Could he still be dealing with something? Maybe. But what about his decision-making? Well, injuries can affect your decision-making.
Certainly.
Remember that season where Morgan Rielly essentially did not play a healthy game?
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you doing half of the things you're doing? Well, his feet weren't working the way he was used to. You know, that'll alter your path. That'll alter, you know, you gotta psych yourself up to do things that you would usually just do naturally. I am seeing a bit of that with Justin Hall. But the fact that they're still using him, you know, and they're demoting him, it almost made more sense when they were healthy scratching him. Because, well, it's not that healthy, is it? You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys you could healthy scratch who aren't exactly healthy. But the fact that they're keeping him in the lineup to just suffer through this. If he is injured, for the love of God, keep him out. Keep him out. See what Biega's got.
So it's not worth trying to have him play through this.
I don't.
Because that's a lot of inexperience in the back end. You put Biega in there. You've got Liljegren, who does not have a season.
Yeah.
Biega and Rubens, who are in their first 5 games. Yeah.
He's already overtaken him, and they have 2 key injuries on the back end, but one of them might be coming back soon with Dermott. So to me, when Dermott's back, I kind of think Hall needs to take a seat.
Over Rubens?
Well, no,
or Rubens over Hall.
Rubens has been sent down.
Yes.
They've recalled Dahlstrom, who had an awful start to the preseason, but then got better. But Dahlstrom's on the left. So it would be, I think the way it would work is Riley Brody, Muzzin Liljegren, and then probably Dahlstrom Dermott.
Okay.
Dude, you got to try, guys.
Sure. Of course. Listen, if we think that there's not going to be injuries in the playoffs, if they want to go on any sort of extended run, you're going to deal with that.
Oh, well, was I right or was I right? You know, after the Tampa game. They're a good team. They're not good enough. They can't be... This is what we've seen, especially the last couple of years in the playoffs with Columbus and with Montreal. You can't be one injury away from disaster at all times. It's just... You're not going to win anything. Not a single damn thing. I'm not saying you need to be mutants. Actual from-space mutants like the Tampa Bay Lightning. But maybe something a little bit more like the Penguins every single year when they're throwing out construction workers who
roller hockey players
who are able to throw up, like, I don't know, at least a point every 3 games. Like, it's dudes I've never heard of. It's tough. It's a real tough situation that I think is getting worse quickly.
What did you think of Mrazek's plays his first game in a long time?
We can't complain. We can't complain. It wasn't good that he allowed the first shot. He made so many spectacular saves in that game. And when it was 4-1, the Leafs were out shooting the Blackhawks. The Leafs did it in only 14 shots. Out of the Leafs and Blackhawks, the 2 teams involved, one of them gets to complain about goaltending, and it's not the Leafs.
Right.
I thought, this is another thing. Is it the way Mrazek plays, or is it that the 3 games he's played, the Leafs have allowed it to be a complete shooting gallery?
Which they have. Objectively, they have. In the 5 periods he'd played before, it was, I think, what was the out shooting number? It was crazy. It was a big number.
Well, and just the danger.
Yeah.
Like, just the saves. Remember the save that he hurt himself on in his second game that kept him out 42 days? It was it was like a $10 with less than 5 seconds to go in the period. The Leafs play like they hate him. They do. They play like they hate this guy. They want him to suffer and retire early. Like they hate his groin specifically. Fuck this man's groin in particular. They just, seriously, one day we're going to hear something go off like a gunshot in Scotiabank Arena and everyone's going to duck and it's going to be Mrazek's groin. We're going to realize. They've got to give this guy a break. They don't do this to Campbell every game.
No, they don't.
Sometimes. But they don't do it to him every game. Is there an aspect where maybe Mrazek plays a style that forces him to use his groin like that? Maybe. It's possible. But
certainly there is.
I watched him make some friggin' incredible saves against a team that doesn't score. They don't score. The Blackhawks. They have like 2 guys. Hagel has more points than Jonathan Toews. That was Toews' second goal. And I don't think he's missed a game. Like, guys, help him. Help him. Help this poor man.
Now, the other defensive zone coverage, Jesse, that you were showing me, that was this
that
goal
was the one
number
at
2?
9:30. Yeah.
That was the one at 9:30. My apologies on that one. So this is also bad, and you need to see this because some of the Leafs' better defensive players are on the ice for this. It's not as though, like, this isn't
that.
like, so who is this?
So that clump in front of the Leafs net is Justin Hall, Jake Muzzin, and David Kampf.
Like, those are your defensive guys.
Yeah. That's
1, 2,
your
and 3.
top defensive center and your shutdown pair. And don't bother looking at this still and trying to figure out which one is which. It doesn't matter because they're so close together that it literally doesn't matter.
And there's your shot number. It's 22 shots for the Blackhawks and 14 for the Leafs, and it's 4-1 on the scoreboard, and it's 3 minutes left in the second period.
At home!
What more do you want from Mrazek?
Rested! Guys! Come on!
I mean, they won.
Mm-hmm.
How is Sandin's next contract going up while he's hurt?
I think it's because he's hurt that it's
Holy
going up.
shit. Like, guys, give it a rest. I don't know what that is in front of the net. I don't know what kind of miscommunication is. But I've started doing this a little bit. I did it a tiny bit last year where I take screenshots and I go, okay, so here's the mistake beginning. Here's how many seconds it takes from this mistake to the puck being in the net. And for this particular screenshot, it's 3.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
guys, at bare minimum, don't bump into your teammates. Like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. They forgot. They just forgot. What did they forget? They forgot.
Is it a one-off or is this a trend?
No. This is a trend. This is a trend. Like, come on, Adam.
I'm asking the question.
They should have lost their 4th out of 5. I think it would have been 4th out of 5. And, you know, when at the beginning of their hot streak, I was like, well, they're squeaking out wins. And then the further they got into it, you're like, no, they're not squeaking out wins. They're dominant. Mm-hmm. They're beating teams that they should, which is good. They're finding ways to win in some games. They're getting leads. There's no calamity. The Leafs have not lost a game that they have taken a lead. They have not lost a game where they've taken a lead into the 3rd. This game somehow falls into that group, but they've all been a lot more structured than that. Dude, that's their 3rd or 2nd game in a week where they almost blew a 3-goal lead. Columbus, they almost blew a 4-goal. Come on. No, it's going in the wrong direction super duper fast.
Is it maybe that they miss Jason Spezza?
You know, it could be. I think it's more likely they miss Mitch Marner.
Yeah. Maybe just a little.
Well, and like Keefe benching Rubens, like the third pair hasn't even been a consideration this year. They've had a rotation, and whoever you throw out there, looks good. Looks good. Oh, Sandin Dermott, looks good. Sandin Liljegren looks good. Dermott Liljegren, I think a couple games, it's fine. Hall got demoted for those few games, it's fine. Hasn't been a consideration, and now they're one injury into, let's call Carl Dahlstrom?
I think
Carl.
so. I believe it's Carl.
Yeah. Let's call it Carl.
Do you want me to check
Dahlstrom.
that? Do you want me to check that?
It's Carl.
It's Carl.
I'm
Okay.
confident.
To take a step back and look at what we're discussing here,
Mhm.
it's a very good team at the top of the standings, and the only problems that were really standing out is their second pair defensemen.
That's a big problem.
But it's a very good problem to have. If that's the major complaint, Kyle Dubas is sitting there and saying, "Yeah, I can solve that by the time the season's end." We got 57-ish games left, I think is the number.
A lot.
There's a lot of time, and there's a lot of season to solve this one problem. It's a problem right now, but it's not that big of a problem because this team is very good and it's an issue that's solvable.
Better
and
this problem now than in April.
Yeah, also better this problem than problems with your core. Like say your first 2 lines weren't buzzing, and that's the reason they were losing these games, giving up these leads. That's a huge issue.
There's lots of good.
If the reason you're giving up these leads is because your second pair isn't the best, I'm like, I'll take that any day of the week. We are in the first place in the entire NHL a week ago, and we're in a very tough stretch of hockey
Top of the
where we're
Atlantic.
playing every other night versus Minnesota, Winnipeg, Tampa, and the Blackhawks who play us tough. There's 4 games right there that's going to be tough, and it's 5 games in 8 nights.
Yeah,
That's
no
really
small
tough.
thing.
And then now you get you get 2 days off, and then you go on the Western road trip.
And no Jason Spezza.
And no Mitch Marner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Marner
No
is-
Sandin.
no
But
Sandin, no
injuries,
Dermott.
injuries are a thing, so I don't want to chalk it up to injuries. But the main problem here, but even with Marner out, the lineup's scoring.
Yeah, and on the power
The
play.
offense looks great.
The power play's a problem.
The problem is
Whoa.
literally your second pair defenseman, and I look at that and I say that's solvable. This team is very good.
No,
I agree.
But
No,
the
I
reason
agree.
I brought all this up, guys, is because, and I think, Jesse, you make a great point, but that can't be a problem in April. And any sort of tweak or hit or knee on knee or accidental this or accidental that can put you in this position come April. Because anything can happen during a game.
Yes, but the point
So hold
is
on.
there's so much
Mike-
time till April.
Completely take that point.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is when we're looking at trade deadline, it sure looks like a defenseman's going to be on the order.
Yeah, I think it's got to be before that.
Yeah, why would you wait till the trade deadline?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
They need to be
Because that's the deadline. I don't know, guys. Between now and the deadline.
They need to be process oriented for sure, but they need home ice advantage in the first round because you need every advantage you can get in the first round because it's going to be Florida or Tampa.